Hey, Covenant Church, welcome to our midweek word of encouragement. I trust that you will be encouraged today from Psalm 67. Some of these are familiar words that you've heard in different contexts before. Let me share them with you. Psalm 67, verses 1 through 3. May God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face to shine upon us, that your way may be known on earth, your saving power among all nations. Let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. Familiar words, right? That first verse is one that we use often when we meet together as a benediction, a final blessing as we wrap up worship and prepare to go into the world, that God would be gracious to us, that God would be a blessing unto us. And then this very special phrase that God's face would shine upon us. And so that our goings out might be a way that he would be known on earth as saving power among the nations, and that peoples indeed would praise you. Very fitting for the end of a service, a benediction of blessing on the people of God as they go out. Also extremely relevant in a coronavirus, right? It would simply be our prayer that God would be gracious to us and bless us, and that his face would shine upon us, and that in this time of uncertainty we would feel that and know that and sense that. But today I have a really specific request of you with regard to these three verses of Psalm 67, and that is that you would actually pray them on someone else's behalf, that you would speak them over someone that I know, Covenant Church, that you love. It was 10 years ago or so that a very tall Grove City student walked into Covenant Church associated with Young Life, Sharon, and then kind of stuck around. In fact, stuck around enough that we hired him part-time and then hired him full-time, and he has been a great blessing over the years. His name, of course, is Jeff Newell, who's been our youth pastor and a director of student and family ministries here at Covenant Church. And I'm asking today for this blessing over him, and that you would speak that blessing, pray that blessing over him, because as many of you know, this is his final week at Covenant Church. He'll be transitioning to seminary in the fall, and we will miss him dearly, but we are so glad for him as he continues his journey in discovering what God has for him. So a couple of things in the way of an update. Many of you have been asking, how can we bless Jeff, right? So these verses are very real to us today, and wanting to help him. And it's been so frustrating, I'm sure, for Jeff, who's a social person, a person who loves people and loves you, to be in isolation and quarantine as he works out these last couple of months here at Covenant Church. But a couple of updates to help you to answer the question, how can we literally bless Jeff with cards and gifts and well wishes? And the answer to that is he's coming back, right? He'll be back once things open up in the fall. We're going to have a grand party, and you'll be able to bring cards and gifts and get hugs, hopefully, from him at that point. And so when I update you on that, we'll make sure you know when that's happening, but it'll be later on this summer. But also know this, Jeff is preaching this week. So one of the ways to bless him would be, first of all, tune in at 10:30 this Sunday and hear his final message to us as Covenant Church as he prepares for this transition. I'm excited about hearing that word. He's a great preacher and one who always has a really thoughtful word for us. So I encourage you to do that. But maybe right after the service that you message him or Facebook message him, text him, call him, and either to speak this blessing over him or just to thank him for his time. That's a way that even in these days of isolation that we can be a blessing unto him. But maybe more than anything, that we again petition our great God, and that we would speak these words, pray these words over Jeff Newell. May God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face to shine upon us. That God would be gracious to Jeff Newell. Bless Jeff Newell and make his face to shine upon him. God, that your way may be known on earth, that you're saving power among all nations, and that the peoples would praise you, O God. Oh, let all the peoples praise you. Have a great week, Covenant Church.